This is a $30 Telecaster that I got off Facebook Marketplace, and as you can tell, she's had a little bit of a paint job on her. Now the reason why I bought this mainly is because it was $30, but I reckon this is still revivable. I reckon it's still playable, and I reckon I can get it back into completely working order. The bonus is when I got this guitar, I found out it's actually a Fender, so it should actually be a good instrument. But can I get it back to working order? Gonna strip it down, figure out what's wrong with it, other than the fact it's completely covered in paint, and then see if we can get it back to working and playing order. The very first thing I want to do when checking if this guitar still works, getting it back to playing order, is I want to check all the electronics, make sure they all still work, because they're going to be the main thing I'm going to be wanting to actually, use on the guitar. So the first thing I'm going to do is check over all the electronics. One thing I already noticed is that I'm missing a three-way selector switch, because that's what Telecasters use. I'm just going to start undoing all the screws and then Bob's your uncle, see what happens. And this screw is not actually in anything. That one's a cheap forever spin. That's another thing wrong. That's not even a proper screw. Now I think I know the mess I'm in for, seeing as that's a pickup screw holding in jack point. Righto, this is going to be a bigger job than I thought. All the wires are cut. This is going to be fun. Oh, they've just placed this over wet paint because that's peeling all of that up. There's the original finish under there, the sunburst. Yum, I haven't got much room to solder new wires onto that. It's always fun. What did you people do to this poor guitar? How am I supposed to solder it straight to them? What did you people do to this poor guitar? Right, just looking through my little parts bin here and finding some springs for the pickups. Looks like I don't have to use some old ones, we might have some freshies in here for it. So I've just pulled the neck off and I'm starting to put the electronics back in, and I've noticed something. When I've peeled off the paint here, I can actually see the original finish underneath that, and it still actually looks like it's alright. So now I've got to decide whether I want to just see if I can peel all of the paint off here first and I might get back to the original finish, or I keep all the paint on it still. But I reckon the first thing I might try will still be my original idea of get the neck off. But for the time being, I'll put the electronics back in how it is now, and I'll see how it sounds with all the paint on it. I want to do it before and after. Woo! Love it when the previous owner didn't bother to use any of the existing holes. We can just make new holes. Yay, now I've got holes everywhere in this thing that I didn't need. I think the only thing left to do now is restring it. Whilst the guitar was restrung, it was time to see how it sounded for the first time. Well, it's safe to say this thing is absolutely trash, but in all honesty, it played a lot better than I thought it would. All the frets, there's some dead ones, which hopefully they're all fixable, but other than that, I thought the paint would have stopped it. They're all usable. All usable within range. You got all the fret buzz going on. Now all that's left to do is actually start taking this apart and see if I can get it back to playing order. Getting all the paint off the neck took many hours on lots of methylated spirits, but it all eventually came off with a bit of heat and a help from a hairdryer. And I'm gonna go back inside and have a break from this because it is hot as balls out here and I'm sweating my tits off. Then once the guitar was all cleaned up, it was time to plug it in and test it. my Telecaster, I'm putting it up against my 2016 Stratocaster, because it's the only thing I have that has single coils at the moment, even though the bridge is technically a humbucker, but it's the close enough representation to what is actually supposed to be the sound coming out of this thing. Now you might have noticed there's actually a bit of difference in how each of these pickups sound. And I know it's kind of like comparing apples to oranges with the single coil versus the humbucker as the bridge pickup, but it's the closest thing I've got to what these two should sound like, because they should be on the same sort of level, but they're really not. See, this Telecaster, if you have a look on the back, you see the neck actually has not a lot of finish, it's only probably an oil finish. So you can really tell this is probably one of the budget sort of Telecaster models. Whereas my Stratocaster, on the other hand, this was more of the mid-range sort of Strats. This cost me about $600 back when I paid for it in around 2018 or so. I don't remember when I bought it. But yeah, this was sort of the mid-range sort of models I bought from a music shop. So for what it is, the Telecaster actually plays alright, but if it had some of the electronics to match against the Stratocaster, it would definitely bump it up into the category of being about the same. But for what it is, restoring it back to its original pickups and stuff without upgrading them yet, it's actually sounding alright. So I'm not going to upgrade the pickups and stuff in this video. I'll do that in a future video because I have a few things planned for this one. But for now, let's just hear how it sounded before and after. Rightio, so I hope me restoring this Telecaster was interesting enough to watch, and if it wasn't, well, sorry to disappoint, but it doesn't really matter too much. This was only a restoration. It's just been put back to its original little specs that it had any sort of upgrades. I'll probably do in a future video, because I've got some big plans for this thing that I'm not going to tell you guys yet. You just have to subscribe and find out, see what I do with it. Go watch that video, or subscribe to this channel here, or I will find you. I'll let you get and do nothing. See you later. Where's the damn off button?